excited to get his meal eaten, and he wedged his toes in front of the seat in front of him, and he's eating his dog, and I kind of glanced to my right, and here's a very portly fella. That was
portly fella.
Very portly fella making his way to the seat in front of us, and Mike didn't notice him, and he sat down on the same seat that Mike's toes were wedged in. And the pain.
Look at the face Abby's making. Oh, wait, you can't. It's radio. She just ate a prune.
The pain that Mike's face went in. And I laughed to this thing. He goes, oh! And he's tapping, going, Mister, could you?
And I'll bet you he got up by the sundial.
He was just like, and I saw it happen. I didn't inform Mike. I just knew that it was. I just watched.
Really?
I watched it happen.
Really?
Yep. I was a good friend. There is no kind of pain like a foot wedged in one of those chairs.
Yep.
With a portly fellow sitting.
The other cool thing about any of those games, no matter where they're played, is to be with the person that's so excited to be there.
Oh, it's the best.
When you're with that fan that's just like, oh my God.
Is there anything better than taking, and again, I love football, obviously all those sports, but if you took someone, a granddaughter or son, to their first, whether it be Red Hawks or Twins game, is there a better feeling just watching their eyes?
My grandchildren, if you talk about all of these sports, my grandchildren, of course, they were pretty young, but taking them out on the field at a Red Hawks game when I was set to throw out the first pitch, and the Red Hawks allowing me to let them, which by the way, thank you, FM Red Hawks, that was very classy of you, and then taking them up to the booth to meet you. The
look of their eyes are just.
That's a memory they're going to have forever.
You can't buy that.
They don't stop talking about it.
Isn't that great?
Right.
That's just awesome.
That was just absolutely fabulous. All right, let's get to the man. Let's get to Too Tall Tom Szymanski. who David Lee Murphy is. Little dust on the bottom.
Absolutely.
You want to come hang out with Abby and I? You can. I know you've got 3 young boys to raise, so that's probably a hard thing to ask.
I might have to not pass you up on that, though. That's a great tune. That's a legend.
Right?
Who doesn't know that?
400 children in a crop in the field. Is that a line?
4 hungry.
Oh, hungry children.
Four, yeah, not 400.
Sarah needs one more before she qualifies for that song.
4 hungry children. 400 children in a crop in the
Crop
field.
in the field.
Let's
and we
go.
need a little warmer weather for a crop in the field. Too.
It's going to happen. I can feel it.
gonna happen.
I heard Tom Szymanski say, or I read on social media, he refuses to shovel what happened yesterday because it's going to go away. So
50s in the forecast.
there you go. What's going on in the markets?
All right. Well, not a lot of movement. Pretty quiet in the grains right now. May corn down 1.50 at 7.36. December at 6.58, up 2 3/4. May wheat down 1.25 at 10.56. September at 10.35, 2.5 cents lower. May soybeans up 6 3/4 at 16.70. New crop November at 14.71, up 1.50. In the cattle market, we're seeing May feeder cattle down $1.48. June live cattle 90 cents lower at 137.10. And for May lean hogs at 115.73. Down $1.28. With your markets, I'm Farm and Ranch Director Sarah Heinrich for the News and Views Radio Network from the Enterprise Sales Egg Studio. Enterprise Sales of LA City, your grain handling and storage experts.
Thank you, Sarah. Let's get to Brad. Brad, I think he's going to tell us his first time he saw the Twins at the Met. Go ahead, Brad.
1977, I think it was Father's Day. My dad and 2 brothers and my grandpa, I suppose it would be Dad's father-in-law, went to the Twins and they beat the White Sox 19-17.
19-17, Brett?
Oh, it was a crazy game. Glenn Adams hit a grand slam home run and got 9 RBIs or something on the day. And Rod Carew went over 400 batting average that day, and he was on the cover of Time magazine later.
That's a good day.
But
Man.
it was a beautiful sunny day. It was Father's Day. It was a jam-packed stadium, and it was just a good thing. And then later that fall, I saw the only Viking game at the Met Stadium. In November, they lost to the St. Louis Cardinals. And that was, but the Twins in I think it was Father's Day. But anyway, that was
that's a good
Thank you,
memory.
Brad. I'm jealous.
That's good.
I am jealous.
He saw
jealous,
36 runs and Krug over 4. That's a good day.
I wish I wouldn't have brought up the old Met because I'm going to be thinking about that the rest of the day. I
For
really am.
15 points, if you went to where the old Met is now, where would you be?
You got it, Ab?
You've been there 1,000 times, Abby.
Have
You've
I?
probably taken a roller coaster in it.
Oh, it's the Mall of America.
Mall of America. That's right. By the way, my daughter
I
Ashley,
mean, they have a space.
my daughter Brooke was too chicken to ride the rides last time. I rode the rides.
Yeah.
I rode the rides.
I did the putt-putt. They have a golf thing in there. 3rd floor, I think.
You know, there's a new variant out there. What does this mean? Are we going backwards when it comes to COVID? Are we not? Dr. Avishnath Paul is absolutely fabulous throughout all of this from Sanford. We'll visit with him right after this. Let's get to the phone lines, 237-5948, 1-800-880-5346. Let's get to Randy. Randy, you're on News and Views.
Yeah, hi. I got about 6 real quick memories. Will take me less than a minute here. I'll run through.
All right.
First, I grew up in St. Paul. First memory of baseball was sitting on my dad's lap watching a World Series game. All I knew about baseball then was Duke Mantle and Duke Snyder. Just so happened that game was Don Larson's perfect game.
Really?
Yeah. Then I remember going to the mat. We used to on Ladies' Day. And
Speak into the phone, Randy, so I can hear you.
I am.
There you
we
go.
went third baseline, facing left field. At the old mat was planks for seats, just benches, no seats, no backs. I remember seeing Jim Bouton of the Yankees when he was young in his career. He'd throw so hard, every pitch his hat would fall off. Then I remember Bill Daly, I think it was 1963, the Twins relief pitcher, a magical season, ERA well under 2 that year. He was the toast of the town. Going to a twilight doubleheader one night, we were giving Al Worthington the heat when we were sitting right behind the Twins dugout. We were booing him. No foul language, but anyway, Rich Reese, the first baseman, stuck his head over the dugout, challenged us to meet him outside the ballpark after the game. That kind of shut us up.
I've got to get Dr. Nagpal on, Randy, but I could do this all day. Call back tomorrow. People would love to hear it. Dr. Avish Nagpal is on with us. He has been there for this community, for this state, for this region, talking about what was going on with COVID. He's an internal medicine physician specializing in infectious disease at Sanford Health, based here out of Fargo. Dr. Nagpal, good to have you back on News and Views.
Hi, Joel. How are you?
There's a new variant, which is something that you told me was going to happen. It shouldn't surprise me, but I'm not going to lie to you, Doc. I don't like it.
Nobody likes it, Joel.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. How dangerous is this new COVID variant?
So the new variant, it's not any more dangerous than Omicron. I would not call it a new variant. We will call it subvariant because it shares most of the characteristics of Omicron that just passed through. And then the only difference is that there are a couple of differences, actually. One is that it spreads a little bit more easily as compared to Omicron, believe it or not. And the other issue is that the one monoclonal antibody that was working against Omicron doesn't work against it for treatment purposes, but we do have another one now, a new one that actually works against it. So we are good from the treatment perspective, and we are also in a good position in the sense that a lot of people have had vaccination and recent infection, and I expect this to notch our cases up a little bit, but hopefully we won't struggle as much as Europe is struggling right now.
So is this the nature, of a pandemic like this, that you get, COVID and then you get new variant and then new variant, and it weakens it as it goes, or it becomes more contagious as it goes, but it isn't quite as dangerous? Or are we looking at something that was predictable, Dr. Nagpal?
So we are looking at something that was predictable, but this may not. Every pandemic has its own course. So it's not a rule that subsequent variants get weaker and weaker. It's part luck that it got weaker, and part hard work that it got weaker. In the sense that many people have had previous infection or previous vaccination that has kind of built up a wall of immunity, which may not prevent an infection, but it prevents a complication of infection. And now we have treatment options which prevent people from going into the hospital even if they get infection. So it's part luck, part hard work, but we also have to remember that it's not all good news, because it has a tendency to spread a lot faster, which we have seen with every subsequent wave of the pandemic. So things are unpredictable, and they will remain unpredictable when the next variant comes, which it will come. We don't know whether it will be more lethal or not, and we don't know how quickly it will spread or not. So these are the questions only time will tell and cannot be predicted.
So there's a lot of people who look at this, and it might not be health that instantly comes into their mind. It might be, gee, what's the reaction of the nation and the world going to be to it? Do you see people's life changing because of this? What did you call it? Subvariant or because of this change? Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I don't. And the reason being, just like I said, we have had a lot of recent infections, so that natural immunity is going to last a few months, not forever. And we have had a lot of people who have had vaccinations, so our population is not immune naive, which it was in March 2020 when we first started dealing with it. The mortality rate was significantly high. We have learned a lot more, so we have treatments, both inpatient and outpatient, to prevent progression of disease. So I think, yes, the case numbers might tick up, but we have tools to handle that. So I'm feeling quite optimistic right now.
Okay. I think that people are really in a position where they don't get up in the morning and they think of, they don't think of these variants. They don't think of COVID anymore. And I don't know if you've picked that up in your practice, in what you're seeing at the hospital.
Yeah, that's normal. Human memory is short, so and it's kind of a blessing too. If we remembered every pain and trauma, life would be very difficult and not enjoyable. So I'm glad that people are not thinking about COVID all the time, and we can have a semblance of normal life. But at the same time, my job is to keep everybody prepared, and especially our healthcare facilities for the next pandemic or the next variant that comes through. So we'll be ready, and we continue to plan in the background. It's kind of hard, when we are having whiplash on how many nurses to staff, how many floors to keep open or keep in reserve, or how many medications to keep in stock. So those are the things that we continue to work on the background.
Yeah. Where do you see, in terms of me, you're going to say, why did you ask it that way? In terms of us not having these conversations, in terms of this not being part of any concerns. I mean, is there light at the end of the tunnel of not talking about COVID?
Yeah, I think there is reason to be optimistic. As the anxiety wears down, as it becomes like more of a normal flu-like illness, and we are not as emotional about it. Hopefully we can convince more people to get more regular vaccinations. That will go a long way in helping us out. And as long as we can keep most of the people out of the hospital, so the health system is not crumbling under pressure, so we don't have to turn anybody away for the lack of ventilator or oxygen or a hospital bed or treatments, we are in a spot where we can handle this.
Their word got out this week that if you're above 50 years old, that a second booster shot along with your vaccination is available to you. Would you recommend to people above 50 to do that, Dr. Nagpal?
So that's a complicated question with no easy answer, and that's why I think CDC just stopped short of outrightly recommending it for everyone. And it's probably more of an individual decision right now. What I see the second booster is like a part of preparedness. Our numbers are very low right now. They are not rising. And if you've had a recent infection or a recent booster, that's going to prevent you, give you some immunity and prevent you from getting complications of COVID. But we also know about 3 months down the line, 4 months down the line, that immunity starts to wane. So I think we need to keep a close eye. When we see the next wave, we should get boosted right away, because it takes about 2 weeks for the booster to kick in. I think we can, but we need to keep a close eye on the next variant or subvariant, how the waves come. And as soon as we have a hint that this might become more of a problem, I think it would be time to get another booster.
Dr. Nagpal, you've been so generous with your time and in trying to encourage people to do the right thing, which is to get vaccinated. I thank you, sir. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much, Joe.
Dr. Vishneg Paul, ladies and gentlemen. The interesting messages coming in on our text club. That's the Eye Consultants of North Dakota text club at 35270 in regards to baseball. Digging it. Absolutely digging it. The phone lines are open to you as well at Laney's News and Views studio line at 1-800-880-5346. But first, I get to the weather cave, to the man who's the top meteorologist. 948-1-800-880-5346. The phone lines are open to you. In fact, let's get to...
Man, what did you just do?
I think I hit the wrong button.
All of the phone lines just...
I've never...
I don't know what's happening. They're all blinking on my end.
17 years I've done that. And I've never hit that button.
Okay, well, we'll get to the phone lines later.
Make it work.
I don't know.
Look at the phone. I don't think it's my fault.
Oh, you clicked busy up in the corner. Don't click that. If you were on the phone, sorry, Joel screwed up. Call back.
So they're gone because of me.
Yeah.
They're not gone because of you.
No.
They're gone because of me.
Yeah. Hey, that actually reminds me of something from the other day that you were wrong about. And we were going to talk about on the radio.
I said there's more people in the Army than the Navy.
You know,
I corrected it. If
not
that's what
that
you're picking on me on.
Not that day you did it.
Well, you couldn't correct it because we found out later on. I thought there was more people in the Navy than the Army.
I don't think we corrected it yesterday, though, did we?
Yes, we did. You're just rubbing it in now.
Off air.
Yes, we did.
Okay,
you're rubbing it in is what you're doing.
You keep talking.
Joel, the dome was demolished in 2014. Obviously, Abby was never there if she can't remember. No.
Ooh, I was there. My aunt texted me on the break, and I was at the Met, and I was 5.
Not that the Metrodome.
The Metrodome. There's a photo of me with my cousins at it. So I was there.
Yeah, okay. Twins' last season was 2009, this person believes. The Metrodome was just a Viking stadium for a long time. 2013, this person says, is when it was tore down. So 13-14 season. So there. A lot of people sending in some of those messages. You took away my power now to run the phone system. I think that's incredibly rude. Let's get to Ruthie. Ruthie, I hit the right button. Welcome to News and Views. Good to have you on.
Yeah, you did. I was thinking yesterday when you were talking, a number of years ago, I happened to have lunch with a couple World War II vets, and see, you know how long ago it is, and a couple Korean veterans. And one of the Korean veterans said, you know, if Truman hadn't fired MacArthur and let him go to Korea like he wanted to, we wouldn't have North and South Korea today. And if Roosevelt would have let Patton go into Russia, we'd have him as a friend today and an ally instead of an enemy.
Well,
and I've been thinking about that lately, and I wonder if it's so.
I think the person you were talking to likes war. I think that you can always find another reason to go somewhere else. If we learned anything from the Russians in World War II, it was the fact that if you come into their country and go after them, they're going to fight to the death. We saw, look at what the Germans experienced. And so that's pretty easy to say when you're not the one on the front line. And of course,
that's right.
Patton never saw a war that he didn't want to get in. Ruthie, I recognize the voice. This beautiful human being, ladies and gentlemen, has been there for veterans and in the auxiliary for years. But I have to say, Ruthie, my dad, when you talk to him about who the greatest president was, and to this day, I don't know his politics. My mother was the one that was into politics, but my dad liked Harry Truman. And he liked Harry Truman because he fired Douglas MacArthur, and Dad was in the Pacific Theater. So
a lot of the veterans felt that way.
Yep. Thank you, Ruthie.
Did you get my message about the book?
Yes, I did. Thank you, Ruthie.
Okay.
She's always looking out for me, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to Gary. Gary, you're on News and Views.
Hey, Joel. Good morning.
Morning to you, Gary.
Yeah, we spent our honeymoon down at the Met Stadium, 1980.
Really?
Fantastic time. We were young in college, didn't have a lot of money, and we had a 2-day honeymoon plan, so we scheduled it to go down to the cities. Stayed at the massive Thunderbird Hotel across the parking lot. But, we went to the first game. They played the Boston Red Sox.
Did they win?
They lost. Just pulled up the box score. I had to pull up the box score. They did lose, but at the end of the game, I told my wife, I said, that's okay. They'll do better tomorrow. And she said, oh, we're going 2 times.
Gary.
So she was stuck with a big baseball fan at that point.
Okay, you can tell me it's none of my business. You ready? Are you still married?
Absolutely.
It worked. The whole thing worked.
Big Twins fans. Oh, it worked. It worked.
So here's what I did, Gary. You ready? So we go to New York, and I had lined up Yankee tickets. My daughter was a nanny out there, and there was another girl from Hankinson that was a nanny, and we took the parents and ourselves, and we just went out to a Yankee game. I had never been to Yankee Stadium. So we were only there for like 2, maybe 3 days, and the next day I had gotten tickets just for Sue and I didn't tell her. to say that she was mad that on a 2-day window we were going to 2 baseball games would be a very big understatement. So Gary, I talk her into it. I'm like, come on, so we go there and she's mad in the first, it rained. And we got as wet as you could possibly get, to the point where you're like getting garbage bags from the maintenance person, kind of wet. And
Fun time.
But I'm still married too, Gary. I'm still married too.
Absolutely.
Thank you, man.
The night of the first game, we went out to dinner, and Pete Redfern, who pitched that game, was at the dinner.
Oh, really?
So I walked over and got Pete Redfern's autograph. He lost, but I still got his autograph.
So I was talking about George Lingen earlier, and George used to go to the Thunderbird because the Vikings would check in the night before the game. He stayed at the Thunderbird, and then he would take a placemat from the cafe there, and he would go and get autographs, because the Vikings, he knew where the table was where they'd come get their room key, and then he'd get autographs. He gave me one of those placemats with this from 72 team, Gary. I've got it framed and on my wall. We're talking Carl Eller, Alan Page. Tarkington's the only one that wouldn't sign, apparently. But yeah, I mean, how cool is that? So thanks, man.
Best that ever.
Appreciate the call. Let's get to the Weather Cave and visit with Too Tall Tom and get our sounds.
Oh, heck
Ab,
yeah.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Got your dancing shoes on?
You know it.
He's going to be at ND Country Fest, and he's traveling all around and making sure people get fired up for it, which, quite frankly, isn't that hard. David Lee Murphy is, let's just talk about songs he's written. I mean, Kip Moore's Last Shot, Kenny Chesney's We're All Here, Dan and Shay's No Such Thing, many more. The man's talented, not to mention his hits, Dust on the Bottle, which you're hearing right now, Party Crowd, Everything's Going to Be All Right with Kenny Chesney, which, by the way, put me down as that one.
Yeah.
As one of the best.
That's our request.
Loco and The Road You Leave Behind, Just Once. Mr. Murphy, David Lee Murphy, good to have you on News and Views, sir.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So, we've had vice presidents call that line. Their staff call the line. United States senators. You put a smile on Abby's face more than anybody, buddy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you. It's my pleasure.
How's the tour going?
It is fantastic, man. I've just had a blast. I've gotten to drive around North Dakota and just see this beautiful state and meet a bunch of great people and see the countryside. Got some snow yesterday. So, and then I just had this giant breakfast in Jamestown this morning. It's going to take me about 2 days to walk off. So we just had a great time.
Yeah,
fantastic.
That's good to hear. I mean, we're pretty proud of where we live, and we know some of the challenges, the snow, and the other things. But it makes us who we are. So I'm glad that
it really is. It's amazing. It's amazing state, and the people are incredible. And I just had a great time, just getting to know so many people, and I could keep going on and on about it.
That's good. So you are going to be in Dilworth, right? You're coming to the end of that tour, and you're going to be at TAC Music in Dilworth on Saturday night. I know people can turn out there and have a good time.
That's going to be our last night. So, there's not going to be any dust on any bottles or anything else that night. We're going to be partying that night. And we've had so much fun at these shows. Because they're up close and personal, and they're laid back and they're low key, and people are calling out songs, and they're getting me on some old ones that I can't remember the words on, and they're getting me on some of the new ones too, and so it's a lot of fun.
So
it's a blast.
David, when you look at the lineup for ND Country Fest, this thing started as just a couple of people's vision, sitting around a bar having a beer, saying, "Why can't we?" And now you look at where ND Country Fest has been, and you've attended a lot of music festivals and played at them in your life. I mean, rank ND Country Fest. How do you like this lineup?
It's at the top. It's at the top. I was there in 2019, and it was a zoo. I mean, it was one of those memorable nights. Looking up at the hosting, I can't remember her name now. It's
New Salem Sue?
Sue. It was Sue.
New
Salem Sue.
I gotta be careful, David, because that's my wife's name. So I don't say the big cow and then say Sue right after.
Yeah. It's a beautiful location, and the people there. It was amazing, and I'm so happy to get to work with the ND Country Fest folks, because it's a great group of people, man, and they really care. They really care about North Dakota and all the people in North Dakota, South Dakota, everybody to Minnesota that comes to the show. And they live it, and I can't wait to get back there to play. But it's a great event, and I'm really excited to be part of this event here. It's Your Town Country Tour is what it's called, and we're just going to a lot of communities and playing and kind of promoting the concert this summer.
Folks, just a little more background. This Saturday, April 2nd, with Julia Cole, Diamonds and Whiskey, and, of course, David Lee Murphy headlining. And so getting a chance to travel around, meet young artists like this. I know in country music, you support each other so much. I mean, you really do. You want people to succeed. You don't look at them as competition. I mean, how much fun is it to get a chance to know Julia Cole?
Absolutely. I mean, she's super talented, and she's amazingly she does a great job. And Diamonds and Whiskey, and it's just really super talented people that we'll probably be on the stage this summer at the Indie Country Fest. But it's great. But I try to write songs for all of them too. So I'm busy writing songs for all the artists in Nashville. So it's great for me to be here and be with these guys, and hopefully I can write some songs for them down the road.
Does it happen? Because I'm curious about that. When you look at your body of work and the artistry that goes into it, writing songs for other artists, do you write them based upon who the artist you're writing for? Or do you write the song and then say, you know what, this one might fit you?
Both. It's both ways. I mean, just for example, as soon as I get home Monday, I'm doing a cameo appearance in a video for Chris Jansen, who's going to be on the show this summer. But Chris and I and another guy wrote this song that he just recorded, and we're shooting a video for it Monday night. So it was for Chris, and so we wrote that song particularly for him. Like Here and Now, the Kenny Chesney song, I was in California in Malibu, and we wrote that song for Kenny. And then other songs that they just pop up and somebody cuts them, and it might be somebody you never heard of, and they have a hit like You're Gonna Kiss Me or Not. I just wrote that song, and then Thompson Square cut it, and it was a huge single for them. So I never know how it's going to work out.
Yeah. Is it inspiration, though? Do you see something? For example, are we going to hear just the greatest country music ballad about New Salem Sioux?
Yeah, that's on my list. It's on my list. But I will tell you this: I learn something every night when I go out there and play, because each venue, it's just like a lesson. It just takes me back to my roots, and because it's a fun night for me, because I get to stand up there with a guitar and play these songs, and we're close, and I can see everybody, and it's just a lot of fun. So we're going to do all those songs too. We'll do all those songs like Big Green Tractor and You're Gonna Kiss Me or Not, and Here and Now, Living and Fast Forward, and we just do a bunch of those things. And we do the Kit Moore song, and we do all my stuff, old and new, and it's really a fun night. I actually probably have more fun doing it than anybody else that's at the show.
That's cool.
So
you're listening to David Lee Murphy, folks, a country music artist, legendary songwriter and performer, this Saturday, April 2nd, with Julia Cole, Diamonds and Whiskey, all at TAC Music Venue in Dilworth. You can get a cheaper price on your ticket by going online to ndcountryfest.com and take part in it there. David Lee, we're going. Abby and I are going, and we're looking forward to getting a chance to meet you.
Well, I'm looking forward to it too. Come on, and we'll have a cold drink or something before the show.
You're gonna have a hard time talking me into that. Wait, you just did. So thank you, dude. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You bet. I hope you do get a chance to come out, folks, to Dilworth that night. What ND Country Fest has done for our region of the country has been amazing. What they've done on behalf of 4-H, on behalf of FFA, on behalf of local ambulance, on never forgetting where they come from or the communities that they serve. And I love that about ND Country Fest. They had an idea, and the idea worked. It worked. And, of course, you can get a little taste of that at TAC in Dilworth on Saturday night. Hope to see you there. Good riding with you, folks.